Have you ever felt like a lighthouse in a perpetual storm? You stand on your patch of rock, solid and unwavering. You tend to your inner light, polishing the lens, keeping the flame steady. You do this not for praise, but because it is your nature. Your light is a beacon of warmth, of clarity, of creativity, of simple, honest presence in a world that often feels shrouded in fog. And yet, look at the ships that are drawn to your shore. While some are grateful vessels seeking safe harbor, you notice a recurring pattern. Certain ships, sleek and dark, are not drawn to your light for guidance. They are drawn to the spectacle of the flame itself. They circle you, mesmerized, but they don't seek to land. Instead, they seem to want to siphon the very oil that fuels your lamp, or worse, to see your magnificent light shattered against the rocks. You have likely been told that you are a moth to their flame, that some broken part of you is drawn to their chaos. But what if that metaphor, repeated ad nauseum in the halls of pop psychology, is a lie? What if it's not only wrong, but the very inverse of the truth? The dynamic is far more complex, more primal, and far more predatory than a simple, mindless insect drawn to heat. What if the truth is that they are the moth and you are the flame? To understand this, we must turn away from simple explanations and venture into the deeper, more shadowed territory of the human psyche. We must turn to the work of Carl Jung, the great cartographer of the soul. And hidden there, not in a published volume or a famous lecture, but lying between the lines of his most intimate work, is a kind of warning. It's a whisper in the margins of his great opus on the self. An unpublished warning for those who dare to do the sacred work of becoming whole. That IT is a warning that says this: the brighter your light shines, the more desperately it will attract those who live in darkness. And their attraction is not born of admiration. It is born of a terrifying, unconscious hunger to possess, consume, or extinguish the very thing they lack. This is not a sign of your flaw. It is the inevitable, dangerous consequence of your strength. We begin with you. Perhaps you're an artist, a healer, an innovator, a devoted parent, or simply a deeply empathetic soul who feels things to their core. You have spent years engaged in the quiet, often thankless work of self-excavation. You've faced your fears, you've wrestled with your demons, and you have, piece by piece, stitched yourself into a more authentic version of who you are meant to be. This process creates a kind of psychic glow. It is the light we speak of, and then they appear. At first, they seem like a kindred spirit. They are intensely fascinated by you. They praise your depth, your talent, your kindness. They reflect your best qualities back at you with an intoxicating intensity. You feel seen, perhaps for the first time. It feels like coming home, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, the dynamic shifts. The compliments become tinged with ownership. Your energy begins to wane. Conversations that once felt inspiring now feel like interrogations, leaving you drained and hollowed out. Their crises begin to take center stage, demanding your constant emotional support. Your boundaries are tested, then eroded. Your light, once a bonfire, feels like a flickering candle in a harsh wind. You find yourself confused, exhausted, and questioning your own sanity. You have become entangled with a toxic person. The old metaphor of the moth and flame implies a shared, self-destructive dance. But that is not what is happening here. A moth is a creature of simple instinct, blindly seeking what it mistakes for the moon. It has no agenda. The dynamic we are exploring is a conscious, psychic predation, even if the predator themselves is unconscious of their own motives. This is where we must heed what I call Jung's unpublished warning. It's the truth that underpins his entire theory of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming a psychologically whole and complete individual. Jung understood that this journey into wholeness would not go unnoticed by the unwhole. He knew that a person who generates their own light becomes a profound and deeply unsettling presence in the world. This presence doesn't just illuminate, it also casts shadows. And some people are terrified of the shadows it casts, especially when those shadows are their OWNS, oh, let us abandon the flawed metaphor. This is not the story of a foolish moth. This is the story of a sacred flame and a desperate, hungry ghost that are drawn to its heat. To understand the warning, we must first understand the true nature of your fire. When we speak of your light, it is crucial to understand we are not speaking of moral perfection. This is not about being a saint, a flawless guru, or a person who is perpetually happy and positive. That is a fragile, paper-thin lantern that shatters at the first sign of a storm. No, the Jungian light is far more robust, more paradoxical, and more real. It is the radiant byproduct of the difficult alchemical process Jung called individuation. It is the glow that emanates from a soul striving for wholeness. This light is comprised of three essential elements. The first element is authenticity. Authenticity is the courage to inhabit your own skin, to live in alignment with your deepest values, even when, especially when, it is unpopular or inconvenient. The individuating person has gradually shed the layers of the persona, the social masks we wear to be acceptable, to fit in, to be loved. They have stopped performing for an audience and have started living from an internal locus of control. Their life is guided by an unwavering internal compass, not the shifting winds of external validation. This creates a powerful coherence. Their words, actions, and inner world are in alignment. In a world of curated images and fractured identities, this solid, unpartakeable realness shines with the intensity of a star. It is a beacon of what is possible, a life lived from the center of one's own being. The second and most critical element is the integrated shadow. Herein lies the profound misunderstanding of light. We are taught that light is the absence of darkness. Jung would say this is a dangerous illusion. True psychological light is not the denial of darkness, but the courageous integration of it. The shadow, in Jungian terms, is the cellar of our psyche. It is where we banish all the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable. Our rage, our envy, our fear, our vulnerability, our untamed creative impulses. We all have a shadow. Most people spend their entire lives pretending the cellar door is locked and that nothing lives down there. The person of light, however, has taken a candle and descended the stairs. They have not vanquished their shadow. That is impossible. Instead, they have sat with it, listened to it, and acknowledged its existence. They have owned their capacity for anger, their moments of selfishness, their hidden fears. By doing this, they reclaim the immense psychic energy that was trapped in repression. Their light is not a denial of their darkness. It is a testament to the fact that they have faced it and integrated its power. This makes them whole. They are not merely good. They are complete. This wholeness gives them a depth and a wisdom that is both incredibly attractive and deeply intimidating. The third element is a surplus of psychic energy, or what Jung called libido. For Jung, libido was not just sexual energy, it was the total life force of the psyche. It is the energy of creativity, of passion, of curiosity, of purpose. When a person is actively engaged in the process of individuation, when they are living authentically and integrating their shadow, they're no longer wasting vast amounts of energy maintaining a false persona or repressing their inner demons. This frees up an incredible amount of psychic energy. They become a generator of this life force. They are vibrant, engaged, and creative. They have a wellspring within them that seems to replenish itself. They are not empty. They are not looking for someone to complete them or fill a void. They are already a self-contained source of warmth and energy. So, this is your light, a potent combination of raw authenticity, the profound strength born from integrated darkness, and a vibrant, self-sustaining life force. It is a fire you have painstakingly built from the raw materials of your own soul. And it is this very fire that sends a signal into the psychic landscape, a signal that is irresistible to those who are cold, empty, and terrified of their own unlit depths. Now we arrive at the heart of the warning. Why are toxic individuals, narcissists, emotional vampires, manipulators so powerfully drawn to this specific kind of light? The answer is both simple and terrifying, because your light functions as an unbearable mirror. When a person with a deeply repressed and unintegrated shadow encounters you, they're not truly seeing you. They are seeing, in your reflection, a dazzling and horrifying image of everything they are not. Your authenticity highlights their artifice. Your wholeness illuminates their fragmentation. Your inner vibrancy magnifies their profound inner emptiness. Your integrated shadow, your comfort with your own flaws and complexities, is the most threatening thing of all, for it silently screams at them about the cellar full of ghosts they have locked away within themselves. This encounter with your light is a psychic crisis for them. It forces them into proximity with their own disowned self, the terrifying void they spend every moment of their lives trying to avoid. Their ego, the fragile fortress they have built to protect them from this truth, cannot withstand this illumination. An unconscious, primal panic sets in, and from this panic, three toxic impulses are born. These are the three facets of Jung's unpublished warning. The first impulse is to possess the light, theft by association. The toxic individual's initial reaction is often one of awe. They see your light and believe, on a primitive level, that if they can get close enough to it, it will become theirs. They seek to own you, to brand you as part of their identity. This is theft by association. They will stand next to your fire to convince themselves and the world that they are warm. They will shower you with praise that feels less like appreciation and more like acquisition. They will boast about their connection to you. Look at this incredible, creative, compassionate person who chooses to be with me, their ego proclaims. Therefore, I must also be incredible, creative, and compassionate. They use your light to decorate their own fragile self-image. You become their prize, their validation, a living trophy that proves their worth. But they have no interest in the work it took to build your fire. They only want to claim its glow as their own reflection. The second and more draining impulse is to co-opt the light, the parasitic host. When simple possession is not enough, the dynamic shifts. The toxic individual realizes that your light is not just a static thing to be admired, but an active source of energy. They see your deep well of psychic energy, your libido, as a resource to be exploited. They become a parasite, and you are the host. Their primary tactic here is the manufacturing of chaos. They will create endless drama, crises, and emotional upheavals specifically designed to provoke a reaction from you. Your empathy, your compassion, your anger, your desire to help and fix things, every powerful emotional response you give them is a direct transfer of your psychic energy. It is fuel. When you're consoling them, arguing with them, or trying to solve their self-inflicted problems, you're literally feeding them your life force. They're psychically empty, a black hole of need, and they will engineer situations to make you pour your precious energy into them. They feast on your reactions. They thrive on the intensity. This is why you feel so profoundly drained after interacting with them. It is not your imagination. You are being systematically depleted, your wellsprings siphon off to fill their bottomless void. The third and most insidious impulse is to extinguish the light. If I can't have it, no one can. This is the darkest turn. This is what happens when the toxic individual unconsciously realizes that they can neither truly possess your light nor permanently sustain themselves on it. Your inner fire remains stubbornly yours. It is generated from a place within you that they can never access. This realization causes their initial admiration to curdle into a venomous, all-consuming envy. Their unconscious mission now shifts from acquisition to destruction. If they cannot have your light, then no one can. Most importantly, you cannot have it because its very existence is a constant, painful reminder of their own inner darkness. This is where the most devastating tactics are deployed. Gaslighting begins in earnest, designed to make you doubt your own perception, to make you believe your light is actually a flaw. You're too sensitive, you think too much, you're too intense. They will subtly sabotage your creative projects or your relationships. They will isolate you from friends and family who nurture your flame. They will offer constant, corrosive criticism disguised as helpful advice. Their goal is to put out your fire. They need to dim your world, to fill your mind with fog and doubt, to make you small and uncertain. They need to plunge the room back into a comfortable darkness so they no longer have to see the terrifying reflection of their own shadow in the mirror of your soul. This is the ultimate danger, the final part of the warning. They will try to make you believe that your greatest gift is, in fact, your most terrible curse. So you stand aware of this terrible dynamic. You understand the nature of your light and the nature of the moth drawn to it. What now? How do you heed this warning? The first, most common response, particularly for the empathetic soul, is a tragic mistake. This is the misguided empath's response, the belief that you can save them. You see their pain, their emptiness, and you think, if only I shine my light brighter, I can heal them. I can light up their darkness. I can give them my fire. From a Jungian perspective, this is a fatal error. You cannot do someone else's shadow work for them. You cannot descend into the cellar of their psyche and tame their demons on their behalf. The journey into the shadow is a solitary one. It must be undertaken willingly by the individual. To try and heal them with your light is like pouring water into a sieve. Worse, it is an act of profound ego, a belief that your light is so powerful it can override another's free will and their personal responsibility to face their own soul. All you will succeed in doing is exhausting your own resources and enabling their parasitic behavior. You will burn yourself out trying to warm a statue of ICE.SO. What is the true solution? Jung's work points not to dimming your light, but to protecting it. The answer is not to extinguish your flame to avoid attracting moths. The answer is to build a better container for it. You must forge a lantern. A lantern is a beautiful metaphor. It does not hide the light. Its purpose is to allow the light to shine out brightly and clearly, while protecting the delicate flame from the chaotic winds and storms of the outside world. This lantern, this strong psychic container, is built from 3 materials. The first material is radical self-awareness, knowing your flame. This means you must become the absolute authority on the nature of your own fire. You must double down on your journey of individuation. The more intimately you know your own light and your own shadow, the less susceptible you are to the projections of others. When a toxic person accuses you of being selfish, for example, if you have done your own shadow work, you can look inside and say, yes, I am aware of my capacity for selfishness. I have explored it. I know what it feels like. And this situation is not it. You can recognize their projection for what it is, a disowned part of themselves they're trying to hang on you, because you're already an expert on the contents of your own soul. This self-awareness prevents their accusations from sticking. You know the territory of your inner world so well that you can immediately spot a trespasser. The second material is impenetrable boundaries, the glass of the lantern. This is the clear, strong glass that surrounds your flame. Notice, boundaries are not opaque brick walls designed to lock you away from the world. A wall blocks the light entirely. The glass of a lantern is transparent. It allows your warmth and light to radiate outwards, but it is firm, non-porous, and protects the flame. What do these psychic boundaries look like in practice? They're the sacred no, spoken without guilt or lengthy explanation. They're the ability to observe someone's emotional storm without getting swept up in it, to observe without absorbing. It is the conscious choice not to engage in manufactured drama. It is limiting contact, or in some cases, cutting it off entirely, not as an act of punishment, but as an act of radical self-preservation. It is understanding that your psychic energy is a finite and precious resource, and you alone are the steward of it. You decide who is worthy of your time, your empathy, and your attention. The glass of the lantern is forged in the fire of self-respect. The third and most powerful material is discernment, the watcher at the gate. This is where your own integrated shadow becomes your greatest ally, your most powerful protector. The part of you that you once feared, your inner wolf, your inner serpent, becomes the wise watcher at the gate of your soul. Because you have made peace with your own capacity for darkness, you can now recognize it with startling clarity in others. Your integrated shadow is what gives you eyes to see. It is the part of you that is not naive. It is not fooled by superficial charm or grand pronouncements of love. It is the primal, gut-level instinct that senses dissonance, that feels the subtle chill of manipulation beneath the warmth of flattery. It's that feeling in the pit of your stomach that says, something is wrong here. For years, you may have been taught to ignore this feeling, to be nice, to give people the benefit of the doubt. Heeding Jung's warning means learning to trust this inner discernment above all else. Your shadow, once your enemy, now serves your light. It is the fierce guardian that can smell a predator from a mile away and will not allow them entry. It allows you to navigate the world with both an open heart and wise, protected boundaries. Building this lantern, through self-awareness, firm boundaries, and keen discernment, is the advanced work of the individuating soul. It is how you learn to carry your light through the world without being consumed by its shadows. Let us return, for a final moment, to the paradox we began with. The fact that you attract toxic people is not evidence of your brokenness. It is not a sign that you need to fix something within yourself. It is in the strange and profound logic of the psyche, a testament to your growth. It is an affirmation of the intensity of your inner work. You have lit a fire bright enough to be seen from the darkest corners of the world. The unpublished warning of Carl Jung is not a condemnation. It is a map and a compass for a perilous, but necessary, stage of the journey. It is a call to a higher level of consciousness. It teaches us that to be a light bearer in a shadowed world requires not only courage and authenticity, but also a fierce and sacred wisdom. Your task is not to hide your light, to shrink, or to retreat into darkness for fear of who you might attract. To do so would be the ultimate victory for the forces that wish to extinguish you. It would be a betrayal of your own soul, your task is to honor the light within you by becoming its worthy guardian. Your task is to continue the alchemical work of turning your lead into gold, of knowing your own soul in its entirety. Your task is to build your lantern, piece by piece, with the unbreakable materials of self-knowledge, self-respect, and self-trust. Protect your flame. Build your lantern. And in a world that so often prefers the comfort of the shadows, dare to be the light.